So the more than 50% popular career advice suggests emphasizing one's strengths to employers and downplaying one's weakness. Okay, so the most common advice is that you should emphasize your strengths and downplay my weaknesses. All right, that makes sense so far. Research shows this advice to be incorrect. Oh, research shows that this advice to do this is incorrect. Well, tell me more. Why? I'm curious. A study of 314 managers shows that those who use self-deprecating humor in front of their employees are more likely to be seen by them as even-handed, thoughtful, and concerned than are those who do not. Okay, so we're using this study of managers that say those that use self-deprecating that use, make fun of themselves in front of their employees are more likely to be seen as thoughtful and concerned than those who do not make fun of themselves in front of those working for them. What is our, go ahead and take 10 seconds and think about what is our conclusion to this argument?
I thought first our flaw was like they.
Wait, let's find the conclusion first for everybody, sorry.
No, I know I'm wrong though. It was more of a question.
Sorry, wait, let them find the conclusion and then you can ask your question. All right, Laura, what conclusion do you see here? Oh, you're muted.
Well, the argument, right? The research shows that this advice is incorrect.
Because how do we support that? How do we support that this shows this advice to be correct? We try to support.
You gave background information of 314 managers.
Yeah, we give an example or a study, right? Background information. Yep, we use this to support it. So now we go on to read that the careers consultant's reasoning is most vulnerable to criticism on the grounds that so this is a flaw question. And on flaw questions, what we're trying to determine is why does this reasoning not equate to this conclusion? So this is where we predict an answer. So everyone go ahead and take 20 seconds and think about what flaw do you see? And type your flaw in the chat once you have a flaw predicted. And don't read the answer choices.
I thought this was like a percentage flaw, like in a sense of like, okay, it says this research shows it to be incorrect, but the study of 314 managers is like, but we're not, that's such a small sample. Like, what about the other managers? Like, how do we take like a part of a whole from that in a sense? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
I get it, but I don't also see where a percent is mentioned.
Well, probably not a percentage, but
you're saying it's a part to whole flaw, and we're saying, well, because over here we have this example, we can't apply it across the board.
Yes.
I see that. I think that's decent, but I think there's a more important flaw here because, and let's dive. Does anybody have something they want to share first?
I would say I think they're using a group of managers to judge most managers. So close to what Mel is saying. And that can't speak for everyone, not because they do that.
Okay, so it's not because we are using a small group of managers to speak for managers, because that's actually not what we're doing. We're using a group of managers to say what we say that what one should do to their employer. So we're saying that, well, and doesn't this make sense that an employee should talk themselves up to their boss? And then we use this example, like, well, you shouldn't do that because research shows that bosses should, come down to planet Earth every once in a while. That's very two different audiences, right?
Mhm.
Would you make fun of yourself in front of your, like, you know, like I think of like a president of a company, like I used to work for a corporate company, and the president would like kind of tease about himself sometimes. I would never go into his office and like poke holes at my flaws, if that was the only conversation I was going to have at him. But he's so up there that he does it to like make himself seem, you know, relatable. Where I don't need to make fun of myself to be relatable, because I just like, you just see it. Like I just am who
So-
I am, right?
Is it kind of like the flaw in this is then like trying to justify the conclusion based upon like subjective evidence?
Yeah, it's just irrelevant. Like to me,
Yeah,
it's like you're using like you're using a sample size that doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. It's subjective. Yeah. Okay, great. I understand. Okay.
All right, so go ahead and pick your answer choices for this one and put it in the chat. This is a great one. So if you felt like this one took you a little bit longer than normal, great one to review. And I agree, some of these questions, answer choices are really important ones to review.
Mhm.
So let's start with E. Bases a conclusion about a certain popular career advice. So we're basing a conclusion about certain popular career advice on a critique of only one part of that advice. Do we do that? We don't just take part of the advice and then make a conclusion based on just part of the advice. This is like when they say like you should only do this if you do this, and then your kid only hears like, oh, I can do this. You know, like you can go to your friend's house if you clean your room, and all your child hears is, oh, you can go to your friend's house. That's what E is saying. D infers from the fact that self-deprecating humor was viewed positively, that non-humorous self-deprecating deprecation would not be viewed positively. So what does infer mean on the LSAT? Conclude. Yeah. Do we conclude from the fact that self-deprecating humor was viewed positively, that non-humorous self-deprecation would not? Like we don't even talk about non-humorous self-deprecation. So that we can cross that one off as well. All right. C ignores the possibility that non-self-deprecating humor might have been viewed even more positively than Do we care that one might have been viewed better than the other? No, because we're just talking about that this advice is incorrect. We don't care how incorrect it is. We're just saying it's incorrect. We're not trying to make it more incorrect. B ignores the possibility that what was viewed positively in the manager's self-deprecating humor was the self-deprecation and not its humor. Does that matter either? And then A bases the conclusion about how one group will respond to self-deprecation on information about how different groups will respond to it. Absolutely. We're talking about the managers versus the employees here, which is why A is correct. Does anybody have any questions on this question?